I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything.
Some people open up their eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Me more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything
When I talk to God.
find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. It's faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy moonwalking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a God when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to, when you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything.
Some people open up their eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Me more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything
When I talk to God.
find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. It's faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy moonwalking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a God when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to, when you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
Hey, what's up, family? Hope y'all can hear me well, and welcome back. How you doing, Texas? Good to see you in the place. For those that will be here, and if you ain't got nothing else to do, thanks for being here. I wasn't too sure about doing a live today because I really didn't have like a organized topic to talk about, but maybe just building some conversation with the community and talking with you all. I would love to do that. What's up, Richardson? Hey, man, if you want to come on and talk about anything, y'all can inbox me through Facebook. I'll go ahead and shoot you the link. I'm thinking that I want to say a few things about some of the stuff because y'all know I just post these questions. I just got finished asking. It looks like somebody from Africa is like talking about how I'm asking stupid questions or I'm seeking attention. If you know me personally, if you really know me, I've always asked questions. I've always been very inquisitive because I think that sometimes when you make a statement, that can be the end of some people's knowledge. But when you ask a question, it allows for investigation and allows for the opening of the mind and seeking. And I've always been doing that, seeking and everything. What comes to mind right now, and that's probably what I'm going to do for a little while I'm on here. If it gets too boring or what, yes, okay. Richardson say he gonna come on. I'll tell you what, A1, I'm gonna go ahead and send you the link. I like what you had did over. I think it was on DMG's channel, and you were supposed to be talking with a young man that people want to see me talk to. What's that guy's name? Oh, Spook. Yeah, Leandre. But I guess he didn't show on you. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. Let me see if I can inbox this to you. And I'm gonna just send you the link. And like I said, y'all, I'm just chopping it up, no particular topic, subject, whatever you kind of want to talk about. If I don't know anything about it, hey, I'm just gonna say, hey, I don't know nothing about it. I'll let you cook. You know what I'm saying? You go ahead. But good to see those that have joined us. Now, yeah, back to the attention seeking thing. Definitely not what I'm doing, but I do want the people that see the post, especially if you are a Christian, it's my hopes that you will, in fact, think about it. Think about it. Question these things. See, here's the thing. I got to where I am at this point because I recognize that there is objective reality. There really is a reality out here. To the Christians that are going to see this and that I am talking to, there is a reality out here. But most of y'all have built such a worldview that won't even allow you. Okay, this is how dangerous this religion of create. I'll talk about Christianity. This is how dangerous it is because you can't even ponder or even think about something that is contrary to your beliefs. It's almost like somebody might as well be stabbing you in the brain. It's painful for you. You can't even consider it. And I want to submit to you that that's a problem. That's very unhealthy. And it's gotten to the point since it's gotten to the point where it's just sad. It's sad watching people that you care about carry on in this mindset, and it's like they don't even have the ability to form certain questions. And I know that you don't have the ability because of your worldview. There are things that I can look back now, looking back into the Bible, and I can question that I never even thought of while I was still in the religious arena. For instance, we talked a while ago, and I'll post. And some of the, I know a lot of my questions are repeat. I get some new people every now and then. But when you think about the Gospels, okay, and you think about the Garden of Gethsemane, I think that's very important for a Christian to consider. Number one, the way that some Christians, lay Christians, and that's mainly who I talk to. I talk to the people that would be in the seats or in the pews, the lay Christians. I have looked into scholarly manners and researched, a lot of things. However, to reach that average person that's coming to church on Sunday, I try to keep my questions at a basic level, or things at a very basic level where they could at least say, I never thought of that. I'll go look into it. Because you know what? Like I posted earlier, truth is not afraid of investigation. And I had to tell myself that when I was a Christian. I had to really tell myself, if what I believe is true, at the end of my investigation, guess what? It's still going to be true. And if what I believe is true, God would have put the things there, okay, in place, because it's only going to allow for me and whomever I taught at that time to be more evangelistic, to be more effective in their great commission of going forth and making disciples. So with that in mind, I embarked on a journey to prove people that are saying things I'm saying, to prove these people wrong. But I had to be honest with what I found. And quite frankly, I think some of you are seeing it. Some of you are considering questions. I'm talking about the believers. You're considering it. You see it because you comment, or because you just watch, or you watch from a distance and you don't say anything. Because see, if it wasn't doing anything, I don't think a lot of you would even waste your time on my posts, either disliking, liking, or argue. I don't even think you would. I think you just keep scrolling if it didn't have. Now, yes, some of y'all I do share. I do tag you in a post. You make a comment. If I'm your Facebook friend, hey, it's free game. It's free game. If you're posting it and I see it, you can comment on it. I can comment on it, right? If I post it and you see it, you can comment on it, but you don't have to. You could simply keep scrolling, going on about your day. But I do enjoy the engagement and the talk. So I hope that we will continue to do that. Um, hey, Epic, favorite type of bread. Favorite type of bread. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that's a conversation between y'all. But yeah, so that being said, I think some of y'all are thinking about it. Back to the Luke thing. It's very simple when you are outside of that religious box to just think about that Garden of Gethsemane. I'll just start there. We can go anywhere, but let's think about this for a minute. See, the average person in that pew thinks that the biblical writers received some type of supernatural endowment, whether it be hearing an audible voice of God in their head, guiding them to write and everything. But when you look at the majority of scholarship, I'm not aware, I'm talking about so-called Christian scholars, they don't even believe that that's what inspiration means, or that that's how they got it. Now, even if you do believe that, let's look at this story. First of all, to the lay Christian, especially those, if you in the city of Jacksonville and you see this and you have a question, there's no reason you should just be talking about me without having sat down and meet me with some knowledge, meet me with a conversation, because my number ain't changed. If you're a member of the Church of Christ and you live in Jacksonville, my number is out there. You can call me whenever. Anyway, here is a scene in the book of Luke. First of all, y'all, Luke tells you at the beginning of the book that he didn't get it by some hocus pocus inspiration. He tells you straight up, he did an investigation in order to write the things that are in that book. Let me say that. Go and look at Luke chapter 1. Read verses 1 through 3. Verse 3 being the key verse. Luke tells you, and I say Luke because that's a accommodative language. That's just who you know, whose name has been put on that book. Because none of those books, okay, none of those books are actually have been signed by the authors. We cannot tell that. If you're a lay Christian right now, get that also in your head. When they found the older manuscripts, because nobody has the original, it was really shocking. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but I told y'all this was going to be a talk. It was really shocking to me when I talked to my aunt about a year or two ago, and I told her the originals don't exist, that she was surprised. Okay, she was surprised. And she thought that they just existed somewhere in a museum somewhere. They had the original writings of Paul, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and whomever else in the New. She thought that they were actually there. And so I'm finding that it's ignorance. A large part of this is just simply not knowing. You don't know. Lay Christians, go ahead and admit you don't know. You have not. Most of y'all have not. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but as somebody who was in a position, hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Most of y'all have not done the level of investigation that I have done. Okay. And there are some of you that have probably done more and you're still in it. I'm not saying just because you haven't done it that you should end up like me when you do it, because there's plenty of people still out there, scholars included, more educated than I am, and they're still holding on to the lies or to the make believe. Back to Luke. Luke tells you, hey, y'all, I did an investigation to find this stuff out. Now, if he does an investigation to find stuff out, that means that whomever he's talking to, either they witnessed the things they're going to tell him about, or they got it from another source or what have you. And we know that is less dependable when you have it secondhand. But Luke says he did an investigation. Now, when you get to that Garden of Gethsemane, see, here's the thing: the Bible, you believe as a believer, you believe it's perfect and it comes from the mouth of God. Well, if that's the case, the book would be airtight and it would be perfect. So it's not that hard for somebody like me to discredit it, because once you have one thing, just one thing that is proven to not be the case, you have a problem. Just one simple thing that is proven not to be the case, you have an issue. So if Luke says he did an investigation, when you get to that garden scene, you're going to find out in the story, Jesus takes his inner circle. Everybody that knows, if you're a Christian, you know that's Peter, that's James, and that's John, right? Those fellas in the story that Luke tells us, he says they fell asleep. Jesus goes a stone's throw away. He prays a prayer, and somehow Luke gets all the details of this prayer. He knows what Jesus says. He knows the physical condition of him sweating so much. He knows that he is under the condition of hemohydrosis. Go look up well, I'll just tell you. Hemohydrosis is supposed to be a condition when you are under such great stress that the sweat glands seep into the capillaries within your skin. And when you start to sweat, or the capillaries break and you start to sweat, the blood sleeps into your sweat glands, and when you do sweat, some blood will come out. So you will literally sweat blood. That's a real condition. However, I'm not asking you about whether or not that's a real condition. The question is, how did Luke get the story if the three men that were with Jesus were asleep? They didn't know what Jesus prayed. They didn't know he was sweating great drops of blood. Now, the only explanation I have heard for this, that and it still doesn't really work, it doesn't make sense, because this would be Jesus to bear witness of himself. Supposedly, Jesus goes through the crucifixion, all that suffering, gets up from the grave, and then this is what we're told. Again, there's no independent attestation. In other words, outside of the Bible tells you so, you don't know about Jesus spending any time with anyone after his so-called resurrection. You have to make up that Jesus told them his prayer and that he was sweating great drops of blood. You have to say that in order for Luke to get this story. You have to say that Jesus was taken away that night, and that after his resurrection, he would spend time with his apostles, and he had to tell them, yeah, that night when I had Peter, James, and John with me, and I went over to pray, I was under distress, and I asked that God would take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, that his will be done. And there appeared unto me an angel strengthening me while I was sweating great drops of blood. You have to believe that Jesus told them that. Now, it doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible. So I'm going to say, if your Bible is your authority for what happened and the record of what happened, and you believe the Bible to be true, how are you allowing, if you say you're Bible believing people, speculation to come in and you're just saying that? Because if you can do that, then where won't you do that? You're allowing imagination to fill in the gaps. And if you allow your imagination to fill in the gaps, God is no longer guiding you, or it's no longer a story. That's you. You're making up something. You're making an excuse for what is supposed to be airtight, perfect, and from the mouth of God. So that's just something I'll get started on. I see a few comments here. Let me see what we got. Mr. Let me see. I can start showing this up. Mr. 337. Most Christians don't even know the books in the Bible was written hundreds of years apart. They think the Bible was formed all at once. I have run into that. And I was trying to bring some of that out the last time we talked. Thank you, Mr. 337, because I was trying to show in one of my streams that time is on the line. Okay, everything in that Bible, to the lay Christian, to Mr. 337's point, all that stuff didn't happen at one time. Okay, it didn't. Supposedly, all the books of the New Testament were done around AD 100. There's some debate about that. And then you have to, when you go back past Jesus's time, or when you go back past the New Testament being written, I think First Corinthians being the earliest around AD 50. But before that, all they would have had was some scrolls of the Old Testament. And lay Christians, y'all have to realize exactly what he has brought out here. That stuff didn't happen all at one time. It all works on a timeline. If you don't put time in perspective, you'll just lump all this stuff together with, a long time ago. A long time ago. And this is why I used to say, it was so crazy that you can have the Christians. Shout out to, there was a person, I'm not going to say their name because they're still in the churches, but there was a person that went to school, was hearing this stuff, and they actually questioned what it was I was teaching and what it was the church was teaching as a whole. Because when you look at the timeline None of this stuff really makes any sense. If it is true that there was a worldwide flood, that I can't remember the exact dates, but I'm thinking maybe around 2300 BC. If that was true, we would not have civilization or evidence of civilizations all over the earth that were flourishing then. Okay, that's just one thing to understand about timeline and when stuff happened. As a lay Christian, you really got to get that in your head. Why is that important? Because if you don't understand when these so-called things happen and you just lump it all together in history, you can be told anything. Okay, this is why. So the person I was talking about, they went to college, and you start hearing these things in these science classes, and you start understanding how timing and the dating of these processes, and how they work, and you'll come to realize that, oh, okay, while yes, there was a rising in the sea level. I'm talking about the flood now, just to let y'all know where I'm going. Normally, when I bring up the flood, those who believe the Bible is 100% accurate, they'll bring up how all the cultures around the world have some type of ancient flood myth. I don't dispute that. Yes, they do. But you know what else is true? What else is true is that most cultures and most civilizations live near, guess what? They live near the water. They used it for fishing and for transport and all these different things. So as much as quite a few hundred feet of our coast are underwater right now, a lot of the things that they have not found is because when you go back in time, hundreds and even some thousands of years ago, before sea levels had risen to that level, you will find that people were living on the coast. And yes, it seems that especially during the last ice age, something happened, be it a meteor, be it global, whatever it was, the water levels rose significantly. And yes, people have tales and stories of a worldwide flood. But it wasn't the type of flood that we are taught about in the Bible that covered every mountain. Because when you ask some of the Christians, and as I did on this past week, Andre Stroman, my cousin, who's here in Jacksonville, they just take blindly what it says there. If the Bible says something and it says that this happened and this happened in a physical way, guess what we would find? We would see evidence, the physical evidence of it. And then somebody said, I think it was Brian Clark, oh, well, there's seashells on top of Mount Everest. Okay. You know, when I was a Christian, that was strong evidence for a worldwide flood to me, until I understood uh, how that happened and what the geologists say about Earth. Now, the reason why this knowledge of geology may not make any sense to the believer is because what the geologists know, and there's one guy that said, I can't remember his name, but he said the Earth is imaginably old. Because when they calculate these time frames, we're talking about like a mountain range, the Himalayan mountain range. That's where Everest is. We're talking about something that started, a process that started like something like 50 million years ago. 50 million years ago. We're talking about when Everest was once not Everest. It was ocean floor, okay, and rose up. Those things that are up there in that ice on Everest have been there for a enormously long, long time. They were once low, and due to the colliding of the Indian, I think the Eurasian plate, over time, they have risen. And you know what? They have tracked this, and this is still happening. It's still rising, and it happens in other parts of the earth. Now you say, well, you have to have faith to believe that. I understand what you mean. I understand, because I'm not a geologist, and I don't have the knowledge, and I don't have the tools that they would have to go and to measure all that. But notice what you're doing if you are one of the believers out there that's saying that I have to have faith in that. Notice what you're doing. Because if the evidence that they were bringing forth worked in your favor, I wonder, would you still be saying that? You'd probably be saying, look, see, the geologists say this, and it works with what the Bible said, and you would be right for doing that if the evidence did bear that out. But it doesn't. It doesn't bear that out. So then you resort to just saying, you can't pay attention to the scientists. You can't, they lying, or you got faith just like I got faith. You say silly stuff like that, but then you have the Christian apologists and even the preachers that want to show that they have good reasons to believe in what they're saying they believe in. They try to go to the science, but as soon as the science doesn't agree with them, yeah, you can't believe in that. So which is it? Either they're out. Now here's the thing: the reason why I have good reason to believe the geologists as scientists is because science is an institute. It's a how would I say this? Because some of y'all play on the words. I may not be the best at expressing it, but understand, science is a place where, I'll call it a place where if you can provide experiments and something solid, some objective measures, and you can prove what was previously known not to be the case, science will actually praise you for that. You get a Nobel Prize or something for that. But in religion, that has not been the case. In religion, when you come against religion, at least in the past, you were likely to lose your life. Now you might suffer some social, some social repercussions or something like that. And if you're like me, if you're a preacher and you come into this knowledge and you're an honest preacher, yeah, it's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you pretty hard if that's your livelihood. But I'm asking you, do you really care about the truth? I think some people that you don't. You don't. You kind of got like that Steve Harvey thing going on. Like he told Monique, we black out here, Monique. Yeah, we black out here. What am I saying by saying that? I'm saying you saying you gotta eat. So yeah, you keep lying to the people. You keep lying to them because to tell the truth, it hurts, right? It hurts. And if you got a bunch of people that ain't trying to hear it and don't want to receive the truth, or they just been so brainwashed that they're gonna deny what's right in front of them, then you got to do like me, man. I just can't do that. And that's why, yeah, I do consider myself an honest and honorable person for doing that, because there's too many out here that ain't gonna do it. They're gonna keep lying to y'all. They're not gonna tell y'all because they know if you keep doing that, then they have to say, hey, you ain't gotta put nothing in that plate. Let me see what some of the comments say, because I'm just ranting right now. All right, let me see. Let me scroll up. I always ask Christians who, okay. All right. I'm gonna stop for a while and I'm gonna look at some of the comments because I know I'm getting behind. Let's see. I want to interact. I want to make this worth y'all's time too. I'm asking you, Eli, about your type of bread. Oh. I don't know. Whole wheat bread. If we're talking figuratively, I prefer cash. If we're talking figuratively, but no. Let me see. I always ask Christians what or who created. Let me read this one. I always ask Christians what or who created God. Of God, or maybe if God has powers, then something had to give it its powers. So that's why I believe in creator, not God. I understand, Mr. 337. That's an interesting name. I wonder what that 337 means. I think I might know, but I'm just interested in you maybe you tell me offline. Um, I think way I heard this explained is because God, this is the way Kent Hovind and some other believers would say this to you, Mr. 337. They would say because God is the creator of time, space, and matter, that in order for God to create it, he would need to have been outside of such. In other words, God is not material. God is not really in a space, it's everywhere. Um, and it's outside of time, which is in eternity. And therefore, because he's outside of time, space, and matter, he could then create time, space, and matter, which we are in, universe. He creates that. And nothing created God. There was a no thing. There is no beginning conceivable for their God. So what you say about the creator, I understand what you're saying, because one of the things, and I try to be totally transparent about this, and the believers want, here they go with a, oh, I got you, oh, you can't explain it, oh, you have faith. Maybe everybody has faith in something to a certain degree. I'm just here saying that the Bible is not what they think it is, and it did not come from some all-knowing, all-powerful source. That's all I'm saying. It's a major thing to say, but that's really all I'm saying. I'm saying it's not internally consistent. I believe that one of my Facebook friends, Walter Johnson, he put forth 5 criteria and talked about the law of non-contradiction. And I'm just asking you, Walter, are you saying that in Christianity meets your form of Christianity, at least meets all 5 of those things? But anyway, um, I don't know. I don't know what their answer would be to that, outside of what I just said. I tend to think, I don't claim to be able to prove this. This is where the believers say, see, you don't know nothing. I don't have to know. Why are believers so bent on having to know? When you get into these absolute things and saying that you know, do you realize as a believer that's how arrogant that is? That means you have to know everything about that particular thing that you're talking about. And you don't. And I don't. I don't know everything about everything that I'm talking about. I can know enough to know that what you might be claiming does not work in reality. I can know that. You can know that. Wouldn't the creator be considered God? I see that here. You could epic. You could consider the creator God. You could consider that. I think we also have to define what is God for each one of us, because some people have a different definition of God. Some people believe that the gods, plural, are actually not immortal, that they can die or have some type of strange Greco-Roman concept of the gods, or the God, depending on how you believe it. I think people make this up in their head. Anything that's outside of being uh, reality, I'm not aware of anything that can prove or show or demonstrate the supernatural. I haven't experienced it. I'm not saying other people haven't, but I'm saying if you are trying to out here compelling people to believe it, then you need to be able to present something compelling. You need to be able to present some evidence. You need to be able to give some reason as to why it should be believed. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I know what happened to me." Especially if you're a Christian, it tells you to go and make disciples, right? And then it tells you in books like, let me talk about that. In the book of Hebrews, I think it's around chapter 2, around verses 10 through 12 or 11 through 12. It talks about God bared them witness with signs and miracles and all that stuff to prove that they were of God. That's in the Bible. By the way, nobody knows who wrote Hebrews yet. they say it's an inspired book and it came from God, but we don't know who wrote that book. We just don't. Nobody knows. But in that book, it tells you that it says that God gave them these abilities to be able to prove that they were from God. So to the Christian, I'm going to say this. If the stuff is real, okay, if it is the case, if you are in contact with that Bible God and he does things for you, he speaks to you, I'm going to say, I'm going to ask, do you have these gifts? Because if you had and could do these things and could demonstrate that you could do these things, I'm sorry about the reflection, y'all. I got my blinds and the sun is shining this way. But if you could do these things, then guess what? You have a lot of people believe you shut my mouth. You shut my mouth really, really, really quick. I'm a type 1 diabetic. And if you're a believer right now, if you are a believer and you can take away my type 1 diabetes, okay? If you can do that, and I'm not talking now, I'll take it either way. If you can give me a natural formula, I can go in there and whip up in my kitchen and drink it down or whatever, or some kind of regimen, and that'll go away. If you can do that, that'd be pretty compelling. That'd be enough to probably bring me right on back to whatever church you in, because I don't wish type 1 diabetes on nobody. It's no good. But can you do it? Because this is the type of thing they were doing in the Bible. This is the type of thing the God of the Bible gave them the ability to do. But I don't see y'all going to any hospitals and doing it. I don't see you healing yourself. I don't see you healing your family members. It's not happening. It's not. It's not happening. Okay. Would the creator be considered God? Let me see. Texas says, Eli, specifically, how has leaving religion changed your life personally, for better, for worse? That is an excellent question, Texas. Thank you so much for asking. So, number one, I have a profound sense of freedom. I mean, I know I'm good. I know that whole sin thing is a farce. That's nothing. I know that now. I know I don't have to worry about some make-believe place called hell at the end of my life. I don't have to even be concerned about making it to a make-believe heaven. I'm not concerned about any of that. But what I do know is that I'm here now and I'm going to live it to the fullest. I know this, as far as I know, this is all I got right now. Is all That's far as I know. This is all I have. If there is something else, okay, whatever. But I don't know that. I know what I got and what I have right now. Now, I know that my audience spans believers, atheists, and even some people into the metaphysics or whatever it is you're into. Uh, I've looked into the past life regression thing, and I've had some experience there. Maybe I could talk about that at another point in time. But as far as I know, when I die, it's going to be just as it was before my mother and dad ever knew each other. That's the best that I would say we could hope for at the time of death. We didn't know anything then. We won't know anything after. Now I will say I have the ability to now, the freedom to ask more questions. My mind is more open. I'm free to look into some books. As a Christian, I was afraid to even study certain things. When I started to research, and I said, in order to prove, my friend at the time, Ricardo, who has passed on, in order to prove Ricardo wrong, I said the only way I'm going to be able to do that is I'm gonna have to go over here and study this stuff he's using to call into question. They're saying that they have these stories in the Bible were plagiarized from some Egyptian stories. Well, at the time, I didn't even think there was any value in looking into that stuff. To me, the Egyptians were polytheistic and they were evil. They were had these human figurines with heads of animals and everything. But I had told myself, I was like, but you know what? He's saying that it's written on, so I gotta go look at it in order to be able to refute it. Because some of y'all are out there, you're talking and you're trying to refute what I'm saying, but you don't have any, you haven't even so much as looked at what Ma'at is, and you don't know anything about Kun fashioning man on the on the potter's wheel, and that's on the walls in Egypt before it ever says anything about fashioning man in the book of Isaiah. You don't know anything about that because you've been taught don't look that way. Well, that's one thing, Texas. I have a profound sense of freedom, and I can look into any book. I can look into anything and read it, and I can make a decision on my own. Okay, based on that, I don't have to take anybody's word for it. I don't have to stop searching. See, one of the things that I didn't even know what the God of the gaps was until I started to look into this stuff. And I was watching people like Matt Dillahunty, who, by the way, is just freaking brilliant. The man, when it comes to logical fallacies and debating, he's a beast. I was watching the Atheist Experience, and I'm telling you, the stuff when you're honest with what's out here, it made a lot of sense. What he says is what it is. It just is. Go and challenge yourself and look at it. Now, if you are a believer and you're saying you don't have to, then okay, you can't even come to the table. I think it's the Hitchings razor. Uh, if you assert something without evidence, it can be dismissed without evidence. Okay, if you're not going to bring any evidence, I don't have to pay it any attention. But I'm saying things when I bring up something to you all or I ask a question, you better believe my follow up is something to that, because I about know how a believer is going to answer. And I will try to give you something to go and look at so that if you're honest, you will find out uh, what you're being taught in the churches, what you have come to know, does not comport with reality. So let me see. Life personally, and I believe Texas, my life has gotten better for it, because here's the other thing I can do. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna show y'all this. This is a good moment for me to show this. Thank you. I'm gonna share something on my Facebook. Did y'all see the Club Shay Shay interview with Godfrey, the comedian? Because Godfrey said something. This is my Facebook here. Hopefully nothing's offensive on here. All right, here it is. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Pause it. Uh-oh, don't give me that wheel. Let me see, I need to close. Let me close that. All right. Yeah, and what I'm gonna speak to, Texas, right now, I wanna get this big screen. Okay. What I'm gonna speak to here by showing this. All right, let me pause it. Now, what I'm going to speak to, what he speaks to here, Texas asked me how has thing gotten better. I can work with anybody, and I think that religion has kept us so divided, y'all, that we can't do business together with each other. We can't separate. And I'm gonna speak to melanated people in this country. Melanated people, y'all, we are sick. We can't, it's like we can't come together for nothing. The unity sucks. So Godfrey is saying in this, I guess he used to, when he was in New York, he was working for a guy or with a guy or something, and this guy was a huge drug dealer, and he went to go make a deal. He went out of the country, he went to China, and he went to go make some deal with the Chinese mafia over there, with the triads or whatever they're called. But watch what he says. The head of the organization, the Chinese mafia or the triads or whatever you call them. Watch what he says. He is told, and y'all should go and watch this part. I wish I had more of the clip, but check this out. Did, 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 hold on, let me stop sharing. Did y'all hear that? That was so deep to me. And like one thing I noticed while I was in religion, and they start to talk about this unequally yoked stuff, and if they come to your house and bring not this doctrine, don't allow them to come in your house, neither bid them Godspeed. Y'all, religion has split us up. Maybe we had that before the so-called slave trade or whatever. And I'm not getting into the whole indigenous thing and who came from here, but I'm just using that as a point of reference in the timeline. When that happened, when the Europeans landed in this landmass we now call the United States, I don't know what happened, but it changed the melanated people that are here to a point where we can't do anything together. We are the trendsetters. We can't even own our own talents and things. Look at the music business. Look at the fashion sense. Yeah, you setting the trends, but you ain't control. You ain't making the money. You don't own it. And then we look at people like Ye. Yeah, y'all know who y'all know. I'm trying to be careful in how I say it because I don't know what's gonna happen. These platforms, we don't own the platform. Look at, we gotta be careful what we freaking say, for fear of something being taken down. Y'all look at him. Okay, whatever you think about Ye, whatever, what you think he needs mental help or whatever, maybe he does. Whatever you may think about him, what he said about those folk ain't nothing but the truth, because he ain't the only one that's done said it. And that is ridiculous that we don't have control over music. And I'm going back to, I think it religion that is at the bottom, at the core, has a hand in some of that division that we have. And if you are a Church of Christ person and you watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Now, some of the churches of Christ are becoming more progressive, more liberal, and changing some things. But think about that, y'all. The churches of Christ. Look at what's changing now. What will be changed in the next 100 years? They had a preacher that was here at the Sweetwater Church of Christ. Nice young guy. I don't know him. He came after my whole thing. Named Trevor. I wish him well. I hope he's doing well. He went to another Church of Christ that I do know of. Also, there's more liberal. They even use instruments there. And I just saw on Facebook where they're having fellowship with some Baptist church. That was unheard of in the church. And still, some churches of Christ would consider you're a heretic. You can't fellowship with the Baptists because they do things differently than the Church of Christ. And then this group, y'all see where I'm going. But Texas, that's a good question. I think now that I'm so free, I can talk to anybody. Um, I can ask these questions without fear. Um, I don't have fear that cryptocurrency is the mark of the beast. Uh, what else? Yeah, I don't have the guilt trips. on me. Um, you got things like marriage. Some people stay married not because they love each other. They stay married because they're trying to save face in their religion, and they don't want to look bad, or they believe that God is going to punish them. I don't have any of those fears anymore. So I would say, Texas, I know I rambled a lot, but the biggest thing is I don't have fear. You know, I haven't shared this with a lot of people, but it's okay. It's appropriate for me to share this here. When I was a Christian, when I was in Christianity, this may sound even weird to some of y'all. You ever walk into like a dark, just a dark area, and you have like a certain fear, like something's could be on you, or you could be hurt, or something could happen, and you have that in the back of your head. When I let go of the religion, and this may sound weird to some of y'all, but I don't have that same fear of the dark. Like there's nothing. Like it's like what am I what was I afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. Now I'm not saying don't be safe. I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? I carry this Glock 48 almost everywhere. You see what I'm saying? However, it's different. Some of y'all might know what I'm talking about. It's hard for me to put that in words, but there is nothing to be afraid of. Let me see. Marglass, yes, I am back. Most Christians, let me see what most Christians don't even know books in the Bible written. Okay, I think I had that one up already. Epic Creator. Would be whatever. Let me see what else we got here. What's this one? Literally, it's all the program to keep you from thinking for yourself. Literally, a 5-word program. Make, believe, understand, faith, and hope. When the truth is the truth, you need to be thinking 24/7. That is true. You should don't shut your brain down, people. You know, one of the things that's happening in the churches in Texas, I know you can relate. Let me scroll up because I'm way behind in the comments, y'all. Y'all, give me have mercy on me. Uh, Dang, lost my train of thought. One of the things that nice to see. Where was I going with that? Yeah, one of the things that I find that's very frustrating in the churches is Bible study. Okay, Bible study is not really Bible study. Come on now, Christians. Don't just hear me out and be for real. Bible study ain't Bible study. Some of y'all been going to Bible study for 30 darn years, and you don't know your Bible. You know of the stories, but have you really studied the Bible? Like, for instance, do you know how the Bible came down to us? Do you not? Do you know what a manuscript even is? Do you know how the Gospels receive the names? Let's put this in perspective. And I usually speak from a Church of Christ perspective because y'all can relate to this. Now, if you're a Church of Christ person and you see this, maybe you're on the progressive side and you recognize that tradition may be okay, but you might see where tradition has kept the church, in your opinion, from advancing. Now, I'm not talking about things that go against your doctrines in the Bible. I'm just talking about traditional things people do. Like they used to have back in the day, they do gospel meetings and people would have these sheets and it would show scripture and some pictures on it now. But then when PowerPoint and all that stuff came, there were people who were like, I don't know if we should have that. That sounds like an addition to worship. And it was breaking your tradition. Look at the praise teams, okay? You got people sitting up front with a mic so you can hear all the different harmonies. You can hear the tenor, the alto, the bass, the baritone, the soprano, and they have a mic while even the church would sing along with them. That was breaking tradition. And some people now, they're breaking even more tradition because you have some females that will actually lead a song or start the song off, or that breaks tradition. Now, when you consider that tradition is not exactly law, and you know that, Church of Christ people, just hear me out. Guess what? When you go and do the research on how we so-called know that somebody named Matthew, Mark, or Luke, or John wrote a gospel, because guess what? It doesn't say that anywhere within what you consider the holy written part. It didn't come with chapters and it didn't come with verses. You can accept that. But guess what? Did you know there is no part of the actual scripture that says, I, Matthew, writing unto you, I, Luke, or all of that stuff? Luke says he's writing to somebody named Theophilus, but he doesn't name himself in the book. Neither does Mark, neither does John. The way we got that is you have to go into a deeper study. The way that we got those names is from something called the Church Fathers, who are mostly like second century people, meaning after AD, and they're telling you that, oh, somebody like this. It's church tradition that somebody named Matthew wrote the book of Matthew. It's church tradition that somebody named Luke, Mark, or John wrote those books. And when you consider that as church tradition, then you have to ask yourself, is it real? Or do you know that for sure? Now, if you never heard that before, and you're a church member and you hearing this, if you never heard that little portion of what I just said before, don't just say, oh, Taylor don't know what he's talking about. Remember, go and look at what I'm telling you. Go and look for it. Don't look for me to give it to you here. I can't recall all of them. I know when I did look into it, I know what I found. But if you're interested in knowing for sure, and maybe you can come back here and straighten me out. Okay. But just go ahead and do that research for yourself, and you'll find out we don't really know who wrote those books. It's completely anonymous. And that's not a stretch, because guess what? You know that nobody knows who wrote Hebrews. Okay. The reason you think that we know who wrote the Gospels because it says the gospel according to. That part is not the Holy Writ. That is not in the manuscript. Nowhere. That was added. That part was added by a scribe later. Okay, let me see what else we got. But now can God be the beginning and end if he has no beginning or end? I like Jerry. Jerry, you always putting your poetic spin on things that make sense. By the way, if y'all want some good music or if you are, Jerry is a rapper. Jerry used to be a Christian rapper, and now he's on the other side of that fence. And my personal favorite that Jerry did is a song called Contradictions. Man, it's fire. I don't y'all gotta go hear that. So if you on here and you don't know anything about Jerry and that the tenant community lot, if you don't know about Jerry, go check him out. Support that brother. Very, very talented. Now I know where you live. Be there in 5 minutes. I don't know what that's all about. Y'all be careful though. If Melchizedek has no beginning and end, then he's more eternal than God, who claims to be the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Excellent point. The King of Salem. But what we know for reality, it's all based in legend, you know? It's all based in legend. What else we got? I wanted to, let's see. Because you were, I'm not talking to you, Siri. Let's see what else we got. Man, bro, you on you? Hey, man, I saw this thing from yes, Ricky. I'm still on YouTube. I didn't even, man, Ricky. First of all, I wish you well. I just saw something I didn't finish watching. I guess you've been traveling and going through a few countries. I saw where you posted something from Costa Rica. And my brother, I'm just glad to see you moving out and doing well. Looks like you're living your best life. More power to you, bro. Yes, I am on YouTube. Um, I can't do this like I want to do it because of work and just I just don't have the knowledge. I wish I could sit in somebody's class and really learn how to really set this digital creator thing up to where I could get some income off of it. Um, but if y'all know somebody, and like I said, I'm in the city of Jacksonville. If you know a way I can do that, then get me the information and I would do that. Ricky was a person, y'all, who also knows what I'm talking about when I say the churches of Christ. He was also in the churches of Christ. So good to just hear from that brother and know that he's still out there doing his thing. Man, let's just say, men will always taught to make believe and understand faith, hope. Just 5 words keep you from thinking. Okay, I think that had actually been said or covered. So what else can I go in on? One of the most frustrating things that's happening on Facebook. And by the way, if y'all want to come on or you know somebody that would like to come on, I still have the link. I've been here, been live for 1 hour and 6 minutes now. I can give maybe another hour of time if it's worth it to y'all. But maybe we can share this link. It's always a much more engaging and fruitful conversation when I have somebody to talk with. Um, so where was I going with that? I got off my topic. Oh yeah, one of the most frustrating things that's been happening, y'all. Christians, stop when you're asked a question. When you are asked a question, can y'all just? Why can't you just answer straight up? Why can't you just answer the freaking question? I answer your questions, I'll answer them straight up. I'm beginning to feel a little cheated because I'll ask a question and then here y'all come with a question to the question to the question to the question. I'll answer and y'all still, and I think I know why that is. Because the answer, the real, true, and honest answer to my questions will cause you to either question your faith or it's going to lead you to an area where you'll have to admit that this thing is not what you thought it was, that your Bible is not what you thought it was, and that there are that is not true. It's not true in the way that you think it to be true. I'm trying to think of an example of some questions. If I were to look here on faith, like the empty tomb, just take something just that simple. The empty tomb. You say the tomb is empty. To make that claim, to say that, that implies necessarily a necessary inference to George G. A necessary inference, if you're going to say the tomb is empty, implies that you know for a fact which tomb it is that he was laid in and is said to be empty. The problem with that is that when the scholars look at it, there is some debate, and I covered this on the last live. There is some debate about which tomb it actually is. And they both have good reasons to believe that one tomb or the other is it. But if you say, well, they're both empty, so that still doesn't help you because now we would potentially have, if you get to say because the tomb is empty, he got up. Well, we got two empty ones. Who's the second person that got up? You don't know. So stop at least using that. I know that that doesn't do anything for you to stop believing in resurrection and all that. I'm not saying that, but I will take away one little tick mark at a time. So when we get to the end of our conversation, you'll realize that none of it makes any sense. So if you are a Christian, please stop saying empty tomb because I used to say it when I preached And then I went and did some research and come to find out, well, God, I'll be. We don't even know which tomb it really is. We don't. So if you're a Christian and you see this, go and look. I'm not just making this crap up. I'm telling you this because it's true that we don't know which tomb it is. That's a simple thing. The other thing, I think it's Alfonso Brown is on Facebook. So Alphonse, what did he post? He posted something about. I'm gonna go ahead and look at it. Oh yeah, Richie. I had queued up our episode, but Richie, I had proved to you. I showed you that if you believe that the flood was a worldwide flood, a flood that covered Mount Everest. Let me say something about that before I go to this. If you are out there and you're a Christian, right? Let's look at that flood story very closely. And I'm not saying that this will also cause you to leave Christianity, but consider that the flood was not actually a worldwide flood. Consider that maybe it was something of a local story of a people. Because there is huge evidence for a huge flood in that area quite a few years ago, in that area, that region around Turkey, where the mountains of Ararat, where it is said that the supposed ark, uh, the ark rested. There is some evidence of a local flood. And you could have a big boat built to put the local animals on for a period of time till the waters receded and all of that. But to say that it was the whole earth, there's a problem with that. Now, if you don't know this, because I didn't know this. I think even Cat Williams brings it up in one of his stand-ups when we talk about water. Water is a very interesting element, y'all. All the water that we have on earth is all the water we have ever had or ever will have. There is no new water. There is no new water. Let me say that again. There is no new water. All right. Now, to the Christians that say, okay, the water covered Mount Everest. Okay, if it covered Mount Everest, at the highest peak that we know of on Earth, all the way around the world, all of that water now has to do what? You say, well, it receded and it goes back into the earth. Okay, cool. The problem with that is that the earth would now have to be bigger, or something it would destroy the earth, basically. That water still has to be somewhere because it's not in the air. You don't have clouds to the degree that that all the water is in vapor form. So where is it? Because this is real. This is real science out there. Now, if you don't care to know, if you just want to turn a blind eye to what I'm saying, but if you're just a little bit curious and you want to show me where I'm wrong, then show me just tell it, where did this water go? Where is it? Because it's still on earth. It's still here. So how do you solve that problem? Except to say that it didn't happen. Because all the earth that we have on water, on all the water that we have on earth, is all the water we have ever had on earth. There is no new water, period. That right there invalidates a worldwide flood. Now, you can still have a local flood, and you can get into the word earth there in the book of Genesis between 6 and 7 and chapter 8, and you'll find out that it does mean a local part of the land. See, some of these things have been lost in translation. So when you see the English word earth, They're not talking about what you talking about, the earth as in all the 7 continents that we know of. Okay. They're just simply talking about the earth as in the local landmass that they know of. This is one reason that when you read the New Testament and it talks about it's gone out to the whole world, they're talking about the world that they know, because they don't know about all of them. Though they don't know anything about Australia during Jesus's time. And if they know, that goes right back into what I'm saying about the spread of the gospel to those Christians. This was really faith shattering to me. So y'all can come on and talk to me about this one anytime. See, Christians think because they might, if y'all prove me wrong about, I don't know, some point in history, then we got you, Eli, and see, you might as well come on back to Christianity. Nah, there are some things that were the big dogs for me. That's not a big thing. Maybe you will prove me wrong or something. I'm not saying I'm above being wrong, but here's the problem. If the whole world has to come by Jesus Christ, and God is not willing that any should perish, but all should come to everlasting life. If that is true, and he gave people life wherever they are on this earth, you have a problem if you're going to tell me that after Jesus died, buried, and resurrected, now the law is that everybody on earth has to hear that message and obey it. There's a problem with that. And be freaking honest. I get up. This one is so easy. If that man died in Jerusalem in AD 33, but there are people elsewhere on this earth that at that time, and they're going to die before ever hearing that message. God cannot contradict himself. He has to be just. Is that not right, believers? So God don't get to say, well, I know Jesus said no man can come to me except by him, but these people over here ain't heard, so I'm gonna let them in. He just contradicted himself, which means if that's the case, this ain't true, y'all. Because God has to be absolutely right. He knows all, he's all power. How is he not allowing for the people of North Sentinel Island? And don't tell me that they already knew about Jesus, because you wouldn't have a dead Christian missionary who went over there to try to take them the message and got shot up with arrows. He's dead now. And not only that, he shouldn't have gone because it was against the law. I keep using them because that's the most famous case that you can go and look at. Now the government says you're not allowed to go there. So if you're a Christian and these people don't know anything about Jesus, but the Indian government has said you're not even allowed to go there, and then the Bible says you have to obey the law of the land, there's something going on here, because now you have to break the law to go over there. And if you get over there, they'll probably kill you before you ever get the word Jesus off your mouth. These people have no knowledge of your Jesus. How arrogant is it that you think, oh, at least you were born in the right place, in the right time, in the right country, so you could be saved? Whoa, but if you say that they're going to be saved anyway, then what was the point of the Great Commission? Why take them a story? Because by default, if they never come in contact or have the opportunity to reject the story, then they're going to be saved. Would it not be better to just keep the story yourself, and those people would then be able to go to heaven anyway? It don't make sense, people. And you have to just be in complete denial if you're telling me that everybody on this earth has heard the Jesus message. You have to be in complete denial of reality to say that. And I'm not dumb enough to say that. Don't fool yourself. Go ahead and be honest. You can still go to church, especially if you're not the preacher. See, me, I was the preacher and coming to realize these things. I couldn't hold it. But if you just a regular pew person, then go ahead, at least admit that to yourself. You can go ahead and slip out the door and go ahead and live your best life. You're not the preacher, okay? You don't have to suffer the same ridicule that everybody else has to suffer. When people believe in Bible magic, when people believe in Bible magic, they don't need flood proof or tomb proof. Good point, Texas. That's true. Because when they sit there and say, for the Bible tells me so. I've been watching a lot of Apologia. He's an atheist and he does very good videos using a cartoon caricature of himself and whoever his guests are. And he has this little jingle whenever the only evidence is what you would find in the Bible. He plays this little jingle that says, for the Bible tells me so. And that's really what most people have. And I get it. Believe me, I understand. I used to be the same way. It was if it was in the Bible, it's true. But then you have to ask, how do you know? How do you really know that? You don't get it's circular. You can't just say, well, because the Bible says so. How do you know that what the Bible is saying is really the case? Because it's the word of God. How do you know that it's the word of God? Because it says it. How do you know it's telling you the truth? Come on. Wake up. How do you know? You don't get to just say that, the people that are on trial don't just get to say, hey, it wasn't me. And we get to take their word for it. They have to show, they have to give an alibi, something that validates that they couldn't have done it. That's what a whole alibi is. If you say that the murder happened yesterday in Jacksonville, Florida, but that person has video footage that they were in California at the time of that murder, then guess what? We cannot say that they did it. Now, even if they had knowledge, maybe they paid somebody, maybe all those other factors are the case, but you can't say that they did it because they have evidence that they were not there. And that's what we're doing to the Bible. We are presenting evidence that a flood did not happen in the way that it is at least being taught in Christian churches. There was no flood, there was no water that covered the whole earth, including Mount Everest. Now, you can make a good case for a local flood, even using the Bible, but that story about it being worldwide, it's got to go, man. It's got to go because you have to have faith. That's how you know. And that's it, Texas. People say, and let's look, you know what, that verse is worth putting on here. I'm gonna put that verse up at least before I go. I would love to continue to talk to y'all, but it seems to be waning off. If I could get some interaction, that would be great. I'm gonna bring up that verse, y'all, because that verse. And if you're a Christian and you're going to admit, I don't know, I don't have proof, I just believe it, then guess what? You're an honest one. I ain't even talking to you. I ain't talking to you because that's honest. For me, what really gets my blood boiling is those that say, nah, we have good reason to believe it. We got proof. I'm gonna bring it up on the screen, y'all. Give me a sec. Create banner. Boop, boop. And that's Hebrews 11 and 1. Add banner. Boop. Hebrews 11. Now, faith is the substance of what is it? Like, if we're asking, what is this? What is faith? What is it? Look at this, y'all. Just live here for a minute, especially if you're a Christian. Live here for a minute. It's a substance of what? Something you hope for. Where are your hopes? Where are your hopes, Christian? Where is that? What is that? What's the essence of that? It's right here. It's in your head. You hope. It's in your head. You hope. You hope. Okay, you want. You're thinking. You imagine. Like SpongeBob say, imagination. Substance of what you hope for. Now watch this. Evidence. To who? To who is it evidence? Well, if I'm hoping something in my head, it can only be evidence to me of what I'm not able to demonstrate or to see or to show anybody. It's just in my head. But when you go back to the Bible, that's in Hebrews. Now that was in Hebrews. I want to, since I got Hebrews up now, I can show y'all what I was talking about earlier. That ain't how God did them. He gave them more than he gave them more than faith in order to help them. He bared them witness with some stuff, supposedly in the story, allegedly. You know, I'm my boy Keenan say supposedly, allegedly. Ain't nobody trying to get sued. Look at this. This is Hebrews also. Hebrews 2:4. It says, God also bearing witness, because the them isn't actually there, but it's understood. Both with what? Signs, wonders, diverse or different miracles, gifts of the Holy Ghost, according to his own will. Let's just, I want y'all to read it in context. I'm going to read it in context. So I got the moment. I'm going to share the Bible screen. Okay, share. Take the banner off. Look at this. Look at this. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression of disobedience receive a just recompense of reward, how shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation? Now, this is important. The Hebrew writer is saying this is important. We can't escape this, and this great salvation that has come. We can't deny it, which at first began to be spoken by the Lord. That's Jesus. He talked about salvation and how it comes through him, and was confirmed. What he said. Now listen, the Hebrew writer is saying this stuff was confirmed unto us by them that heard him. It was confirmed unto whoever the Hebrew writer, a third party. He's saying what they said or what he told them was confirmed to us. How? God bared them witness both with signs, wonders, divers miracles, gifts of the Holy Ghost, according to his own will. Y'all, listen. I'm just asking a simple question to the believers. Where are these gifts? Where are these things? You can bring these things. If you got these gifts, you got these miracles, that would help show. Now keep in mind, in this same book of just about what, 9 chapters later, this same writer is going to say faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Is that coherent? Does that make sense? He's saying you need faith in order to please him. But then he's saying that these same people back then, we can't escape. We got to believe this, or we have had the proof. That they were from God. How do we know that today? Where's the proof? Where's the diverse miracles? Okay. We need to see it. We need to see it. I'll stop sharing there. So yeah. 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 Why do I keep doing it? Because, I gave 20 years of my life to this. This is what I know. Some people get oh well, he only talking about Christianity. You don't get on the Muslims. They junk false too. But I was not a Muslim. Okay. I don't believe their stuff is right. Mhm. Oh well, he believe in a creator and ain't got no book, he ain't got nothing for it. I don't have a doctrine or something for y'all to follow. I am here to encourage truth and doing some looking into the matters. I'm gonna work on putting this in some type of form, and maybe I figured maybe if I come here, I was actually encouraged by somebody to even do this stream. I wasn't even sure I was gonna do this, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I'm just being totally. I'm trying to figure out how can I package this for y'all in a way that will help because it has helped me. I have been liberated. This is why I say truth is my only religion. And again, what I mean by that is this: religion, religare, to bind, to be holden by something. Believers, you are holden to your religion. You are bound by it. That's your religion, though. Well, only thing Eli is claiming to be held by is the truth. That's it. Whatever that is, whatever the truth is, that's what I want to be held by. I want to believe as many true things as possible and reject the false. That's all I'm saying. I'm held by the truth. And the things that are true, we can talk about. I'm just here to tell you the things that are in your Bible, just because you can find a place, a city called this, or maybe there's a historical person of Caiaphas or whatever. That does not mean because that's true that some Negro walked on the water. That does not mean because there's a place called Jerusalem that some Negro named Lazarus was called from the grave and had to die twice as a result. That don't mean that. Where's Lazarus' grave, by the way? Like, do we know? Because if he got up, he died, then he was brought back. Poor Lazarus had to die twice. But the Hebrew writer says in Hebrews 9:27, I believe, it is appointed unto man once to die, and after this is the judgment. Poor Lazarus had to die twice. Y'all, oh man, faith, it's on. I gotta get out. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody. But listen, if y'all got Christian friends that want to talk to me and people that say I'm not sincere, I am. Look, if you got something that can answer these questions, that can bring it back, bring me, hey, do it, man. Because I'm sincerely listening. People think I'm not, but that's because I think they get upset with my questions because my questions puts them in a position where they have to either say they don't know. And the thing about religion deals in the absolutes. Y'all can't say we don't know. Those of us on this side of the fence, we can say that. We can say, I don't know. Well, where did we come from? I don't know. Well, we'll see. And just because I don't know doesn't mean that you do, because you got a book that tells you something. A man wrote that book and made this stuff up. That's it. You got a book, and that doesn't mean that it's absolute, because you also believe that Joshua told the earth or told the sun and the moon to stand still, and you believe that actually happened. But in reality, the sun is not going around the earth as far as we know. Okay. So yeah, Henry Mars, thanks. Maybe we'll come in here. Y'all share this out to people. Let's get the conversation going. And I think some of y'all Christians I'm willing to go live. I don't have to just do this on Sunday at 6. But why are none of y'all willing to come on here? Why is that? I have talked to some, Richie has been live with me. Respect to him. I can't believe this man's name is slipping my mind. Give me a second. Because I have talked to him, respected Christian scholar, Robert Ash. Yeah, there you go. Robert's been on here. Where y'all preachers at? Where y'all Jacksonville? Oh, don't say it's a waste of time. Tell them to come on here and shut me up with some truth. I don't think that they can. I don't see it. It can't happen. Church of Christ, where they at? I got some, nobody's talking to me now since I left. Why? Why is that? If you a regular lay member and you know I'm out here, Ricky Cheese, where you at, man? Come on here, let's talk. Let's have this talk. Because I think, see, when you're typing, there's some things that get missed. I don't see it. I'm not on there 24/7. But if you come on here and I ask you a question, you're gonna have to answer it. Same for me, because I'll answer you straight up. I'm not afraid to tell you what's really going on if I don't know something. Can y'all do that? Stop freaking lying to yourself. And let's keep it real, man. Well, it looks like that's about all I can really say at this, and really offer y'all. I'm gonna do y'all the favor of outro, and we're gonna end it with Chief Kylie. Everybody, talk to God. All right, y'all really think about the words that Chief wrote in here. Okay, think about these words. Peace to him, and peace to you all, family. Love y'all.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything.
Some people open up their eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come here and these goes get hard, feeling like I need some answers. I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Me more than sight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. Conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything.
When I talk to God.
Find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. His faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy walking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.